Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball series is easily one of the most well-known works of Japanese manga and animation that the world has ever been exposed to. For most of us, it's been the gateway to the world of anime. It brought us fighters who were so powerful that they could level planets. We witnessed fighting tournaments among powerful species from different planets. We sat through some of the most intense action sequences imaginable. And throughout it all, we saw how much Goku and Vegeta have grown as both characters and warriors. It's safe to assume that Goku is the strongest character in the entire franchise. Although he often ends up meeting someone of a much higher level who's incredibly strong, Goku also manages to reach a level where he eventually becomes the stronger being. He has the spirit of a true warrior. And yet, every time we are introduced or reintroduced to Broly, Goku's strength is put to the test because Broly, for lack of a better word, is an abnormal case. And a lot of that boils down to his anatomy, so we're gonna break that all down in this video. Before getting into the content, we'd like to make a very small request to our viewers. Please subscribe to our channel, like and comment on our videos, and press the bell icon to be notified whenever we upload new content. We would be grateful to you, and we hope to bring you the best nerdy content in the future. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. What is a legendary Super Saiyan? Before we get into the meat of things, we'd like to start off with what a legendary Super Saiyan tends to refer to. The thing is, the meaning of the term can change based on the context. For the longest time, the Saiyan race had only heard fables of being able to become a Super Saiyan, often referred to as a legendary Super Saiyan or the legend of the Super Saiyan. It's not until the last remaining Saiyans from planet Vegeta come to Earth that we actually get to witness the warrior race attain this power upgrade, which is characterized by a yellow power aura and blonde spiky hair. This was the primary reason behind Frieza destroying planet Vegeta. Although under the subjugation of the Frieza forces, the tyrannical villain was well aware of the fables and legends surrounding the possibility of a Super Saiyan and the Super Saiyan gods. Because the Saiyans were a warrior race, Frieza didn't expect them to sit back and relax under his rule either. Naturally, the best option for him was to exterminate the planet, as this would prevent any future uprisings. If there are no Saiyans, there can be no Super Saiyans or Super Saiyan gods. The other legendary Super Saiyan here is Broly. To Colonel Paragus, who used to be a warrior under the rule of King Vegeta, is the legendary Super Saiyan. Because he was born with a power level of approximately 10,000, which is an anomaly considering Saiyans such as King Vegeta and Goku's father Bardock had similar power levels at their prime, he went on to be referred to as the legendary Super Saiyan. But there's another complication here. In the movie Dragon Ball Super Broly, power measuring devices known as scouters were used to assess Broly's power levels. Because of its immeasurable score, one of the members in the room believed that he could be the legendary Super Saiyan. Refers to the yellow-colored, blonde-haired Super Saiyan that we know now and used to be a legend back when planet Vegeta hadn't yet been destroyed. However, we see the likes of Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, Trunks, and Goten becoming Super Saiyans over the course of Dragon Ball Z. And even then, Broly is referred to as a legendary Super Saiyan in the movies. In this case, the phrase refers to how much of an anomaly he is even among the Saiyans. Not the legend of the Super Saiyan, but a Super Saiyan who can only be from a legend. With that confusion cleared up, let's get into what makes him such a legendary figure in a multiverse where characters casually destroy planets without batting an eye. Introduction to the legendary Super Saiyan. Broly makes his debut in the 1993 animated film Broly, the legendary Super Saiyan. It would be hard to label him as a canon character throughout Dragon Ball Z because although he was designed by Akira Toriyama himself, he was created by Takao Koyama. He also doesn't appear in the original manga until the Dragon Ball Super series. We are taken back to planet Vegeta before its destruction, where we're introduced to a newborn Broly in his pod, placed right beside the pod of Son Goku, or as Broly likes to refer to him, Kakarot. Now, the newborn Goku cries almost as much as the average newborn, unlike Broly, who is more silent. However, the constant exposure to Son Goku's wails results in the legendary Super Saiyan becoming irritated. To lay emphasis on how strong Broly was as someone born with a power level of 10,000, the prodigious Saiyan Prince Vegeta was born with a power level of 1,500, while Goku scored a mere 2. King Vegeta orders Broly's execution due to his fear of a Saiyan as strong as him one day usurping the throne and becoming a destructive threat to the Saiyan race. His father, Paragus, is attacked by the king himself, while one of King Vegeta's underlings is asked to stab the newborn Broly. Despite all of that, the father-son duo continues to survive, not just the state-sanctioned assassination, but also the destruction of their planet. In the nick of time, the newborn Broly is able to protect himself and his father, and together, they successfully depart the planet before getting caught in the crossfire of its destruction. Because Broly is also so ridiculously powerful, he is able to create a protective beam around himself and Paragus for their protection. It has been implied that Broly subconsciously associated the wails of a newborn son Goku with the horrible experiences he faced later on, with almost being killed and having to escape his home planet. This led to him developing an intense hatred towards Goku, or Kakarot. Paragus is aware of King Vegeta's envy towards Broly's power levels, which far exceeded that of the Crown Prince Vegeta. Living on a different planet with Broly, Paragus takes it upon himself to turn his son into a stellar warrior. However, despite harboring strong feelings of vengeance towards King Vegeta, he is aware that it is a revenge that he can never carry out, simply because Planet Vegeta has ceased to exist. This only means that his target shifts to the surviving Prince Vegeta. The issue with Broly's power levels lies in the fact that Broly doesn't have control over his rage. Saiyans in general are known for having a violent streak due to them being warriors. The naturally aggressive species made a livelihood out of conquering planets, at least until they were subjugated by King Cold. However, that particular nature, alongside Broly's destructive strength, his PTSD, and latent hatred for Goku, made him incapable of having self-control. To counter this issue, Paragus crowns him with a mind control device while wearing its remote control as a bracelet himself. This often successfully manages to tame Broly. And with a powerful being like Broly under his control, Paragus decides to use his son's power to take control over the universe. Goku and Broly come across one another as King Kai reports to Goku about a Saiyan destroying the southern galaxy while heading toward the northern galaxy. Meanwhile, Paragus has located Vegeta on Earth and lies to the Saiyans about the creation of the new planet Vegeta. Broly is in on his father's trick, and the other Saiyans, except Future Trunks, do not suspect the boy to be the destroyer they have to look for. However, Goku and Broly's encounter leads to Goku recognizing his ki as the one he's looking for. Meanwhile, Broly begins to get enraged at the mere sight of Goku, causing Paragus to intervene in order to defuse his tense state using the mind control device. But he is aware that something is just not right. However, Broly's sane state gets triggered by Goku's presence, which is bad news for Paragus as he seems to be losing control over his weapon. Later, Broly turns into a Super Saiyan despite being sat on the mind control device and attacks Goku in the middle of the night. This leads to Paragus thinking that the mind control device is malfunctioning. Eventually, Broly's wrath towards Goku swells up to the point that Paragus loses control over him, and Broly becomes a monstrous being brimming with rage and power. Full power at last! Broly attains his next form, that of the legendary Super Saiyan, soon after, making Vegeta realize just how desperate the situation is. While the other Saiyans, such as Goku, a 10-year-old Gohan, Future Trunks, and Piccolo fight back as much as they can, a fearful Vegeta avoids the front lines for the very first time because he is aware of just how pointless it is for them to even think of standing a chance against the legendary Super Saiyan. In this form, Broly sports his trademark buff body with green hair, which we often identify him from. Ultimately, with everyone being put out of action due to no one having the power to stand up to Broly, all the Saiyans, including a reluctant Vegeta, transfer their powers to Goku, who manages to defeat and destroy Broly at long last with an impactful punch to the gut. It is necessary to remember that even after becoming the legendary Super Saiyan, however, Broly continued to develop quickly as a fighter amidst the battle. He was already endowed with the stereotypical Saiyan powers such as super strength, speed, flight, durability, and more. However, with his transformations, he acquired the ability to shoot explosive blasts. Of course, every Saiyan trait he possesses is much more potent and enhanced compared to what the others of his race have. To state that Broly dies after the battle would be wrong, though. Within the film, the so-called new planet Vegeta had fallen victim to a nearing comet that eventually destroys the planet. Broly had managed to escape on the space pod, which coincidentally crash-landed on Earth, possibly due to his now conscious pursuit of Goku, the results of which we get to see in the sequel. Not dead yet! Broly in Second Coming and Bio Broly. The year 1994 introduces us to the second Broly movie in the trilogy, Dragon Ball Z Broly, Second Coming. The movie takes place 7 years after Broly's defeat at the hands of Goku. By this time, Goten and Trunks have become Super Saiyans, Gohan is a teenager, and Goku is dead after intentionally getting caught in Cell's self-destruct mode. Trunks, Goten, and Videl visit a village on their quest to collect the 7 Dragon Balls. In this village, they learn about a supposed monster terrorizing the place and decide to counter it. While waiting to ambush the creature, Goten starts to whine about wanting something to eat, for which Videl slaps him. However, he soon begins to cry, the sounds of which reach a latent Broly. The legendary Super Saiyan hears the cries and correlates them to that of Goku from their nascent stages, while being oblivious to the fact that the person crying is not Goku, but his second son, Goten. Reawakened, the trio is soon attacked by Broly. Gohan reaches the place of action as well and is able to hold off Broly for a while. He blasts a Kamehameha at Broly's attack, which is not strong enough to hold off the legendary Super Saiyan. However, Goten soon joins in, and their possession of the 7 Dragon Balls and Goten unintentionally wishing for Goku's help leads to the appearance of Spirit Goku, who joins in on the family Kamehameha. From a distance, Trunks fires an attack to distract Broly, and ultimately, the legendary Super Saiyan is put to rest once again, but not for long. A few months after the release of the sequel, we get the final film in the trilogy in the form of Dragon Ball Z Bio Broly. Here, scientist Dr. Kali uses biotechnology and genetic engineering to create biological warriors with supernatural powers. Unfortunately for him, these guys aren't strong enough. However, the scientist and his employer, Mr. Jaguar, have an ace up their sleeve. Following the death of Broly in the previous film, his blood was taken from his place of death, and it was used to create a clone of the legendary Super Saiyan, who we see in this film while he is dormant inside a tank, with his tail giving away his lineage as a Saiyan. This Bio Broly soon breaks out of the tank and attacks Trunks and Goten, because Goten looks exactly like a younger version of Goku, who, as always, is Broly's target. Although the boys and Android 18 are able to do little to hold him off, Trunks resorts to using his brain after a dangerous biofluid leaks out from the laboratory as a result of their battle's collateral damage. Once exposed to air, this culture fluid destroys the cells of any genetically different species it comes across. As such, Trunks manages to distract Broly, who eventually gets drenched in the biofluid. Although he perseveres at first, we soon learn that seawater solidifies the fluid. So when Broly goes into the nearby sea to continue his rampage, now as a colossal-sized monster, his body hardens up, allowing him to be broken apart into pieces. In all of these films, Broly seems to have lost his intelligence to a great extent, especially in Bio Broly. The entire trilogy operates outside the canon of Dragon Ball Z as well, much to our sorrow considering how popular Broly is as an antagonist. He has even appeared in many Dragon Ball Z video games. However, his status as a character outside the canon is eventually altered as he is introduced by Akira Toriyama himself in Dragon Ball Super. Broly in Dragon Ball Super. How the legendary Super Saiyan stands up to the Super Saiyan gods. On December 2018, the film Dragon Ball Super Broly presented us with a slightly different version of Broly's origin story. The power levels of the characters in this franchise are also different, with Goku and Vegeta having attained the status of being Super Saiyan gods and the audience being exposed to beings like Beerus the Destroyer and Whis. Before we get into the present, let's go back to when Frieza arrived on planet Vegeta, back when the place was still there. After taking over King Cold's forces and showing the Saiyans just how ruthless he is, Frieza leaves the Saiyans with 500 units of his device, the Scouter. As we've already mentioned, this gadget calculates the power levels of its target. Soon, we're taken to a nursery where King Vegeta comes to learn that the prodigious Prince Vegeta, although destined for greatness, has power levels that pale in comparison to that possessed by Colonel Paragus' son, Broly. In fact, the Scouter is unable to score Broly's power levels because of how strong he is. Fearing that Broly might turn against the crown, King Vegeta sends the infant to a different planet in an escape pod. Paragus is dead set against his son being exiled and follows the pod in pursuit. As a result, both father and son are stranded on the dominantly uninhabited planet Vampa, where Broly grows up training with Paragus and a creature named Ba. While he had the mind control headband in the first film, the Broly in Dragon Ball Super has a steel-like ring around his neck. When out of control, Paragus uses a remote to send an electronic shockwave to Broly's system, thus putting him out of action. His goal, as usual, is to get revenge on King Vegeta, although he is unaware of the destruction of the planet due to his arriving on Vampa before Frieza's attack on planet Vegeta. Broly grows up with little social skills, but he is far from being a raging behemoth. As a kid, his father had cut off his Saiyan tail to prevent the already powerful Saiyan from going out of control in his great ape form. Broly also had a kind heart that just needed to be nurtured by the right people. Unfortunately, Paragus had weaponized him. In the present, Paragus and Broly are rescued by Lemmo and Shilai from planet Vampa, where Shilai sees how terribly Paragus treats Broly and pickpockets the remote that can electrocute him. Frieza is alive once again and gets two of his low-class workers to bring in Paragus and Broly as part of a recruitment mission to defeat Goku and Vegeta. Broly is made to go against Vegeta. At first, Vegeta fights in his base form, where Broly is obviously stronger, but Vegeta's tactical skill allows him to keep up with the legendary Super Saiyan's pace. Soon after, the Saiyan Prince upgrades to his Super Saiyan form and his Super Saiyan God form, where he is seemingly stronger than Broly once he transforms. However, despite not having such upgrades, Broly adapts amidst the fight and continues to get stronger whilst being exposed to his opponent's upgraded ki. The more he fights, the more he learns. Around this time, we even see Broly tap into the power of Uzaru, or the great ape, without transforming into one, since his tail was cut off. His design may have paid homage to that of Goku's Super Saiyan 4 from Dragon Ball GT. Although GT is very much out of the canon and often ignored, Broly's great ape form might just be a nod to it. Soon after, Goku takes over the fight for his share of fun and goes against Broly in his base form as a Super Saiyan God, and Super Saiyan Blue. Although Goku has the upper hand because of his several forms, Broly's adaptive qualities allow him to keep up with Goku. For example, after Goku uses the God Bind on Broly, the latter learns to use it right after. To be fair, Goku and Vegeta spend their entire lives training and fighting, unlike Broly, who has spent his entire life training with only his much weaker father in a simulation and an unusual pet. The power scaling also doesn't make sense because it's not supposed to. Broly is an anomaly and a freak of nature. He's far more powerful and destructive than the average Saiyan. If he was exposed to the same developmental circumstances as Goku and Vegeta, he would easily be far more powerful than the two of them. And of course, Broly more often than not operates in his berserker state, which is insane considering how his body is able to adapt and get stronger while his mind has gone out of control. With the remote being stolen by Shilai, Paragus is also unable to stop him by electrocuting him. Frieza, who's observing the fight, recalls how Goku turned into a Super Saiyan not just in a fit of rage, but because he was overcome by grief after Krillin's death. To trigger that, he kills Paragus and makes Broly aware of it, finally resulting in Broly undergoing a massive transformation and becoming Super Broly. In this form, he dominates over both Goku and Vegeta in their blue forms, but this is not the end of his transformations. The Saiyan duo returns to action in their fused state known as Gogeta, which is always a last measure move for the two. When Super Buu was seemingly undefeatable and had absorbed Trunks, Goten, and Gohan, Goku and Vegeta used Potara rings to fuse and fought as Vegito. In Dragon Ball Z Fusion Reborn, the two took part in the fusion dance for the first time to become Gogeta in their battle against Super Janemba. And finally, in Dragon Ball Super Broly, the duo fused to defeat an almost invincible Broly, all while being able to turn into Super Saiyan God Blue, whereas Broly had undergone only mediocre training throughout his life. Not only does the fusion merge the powers of Goku and Vegeta, it also multiplies it. We also get to see Gogeta Blue as it upgrades to fight Broly. Naturally, Broly has a tough time once again, until he doesn't, because he adapts and gets stronger. In this form, Broly becomes a legendary Super Saiyan or Super Saiyan full power. He boasts a humongous buff bod with eyes that are devoid of pupils and green hair that is reminiscent of his original design from Dragon Ball Z. However, like the second Broly movie, the Dragon Balls are used to finally bring the conflict to an end when Shilai and Lemmo wish for Broly to be sent back to Vampa safely. They do so because they believe Broly is originally kind-hearted and pure, which, in the context of this film, is true. Marvelous verdict! The greatest difference between the original Broly versus the more canon version lies in Broly's nature. He is not a single-minded beast dedicated to destroying Kakarot. In fact, the last movie ends with Goku deciding to befriend Broly as he respects the Saiyan for his strength. However, in both cases, Broly's unusual anatomy, even as a Saiyan, has allowed him to be weaponized by his father Paragus for his own petty, selfish reasons. And yet, no amount of mind control and subjugation is enough to overpower the sheer raw strength that Broly possesses. With that, today's video comes to an end. What did you think of Broly? Did you enjoy this video? If so, then don't forget to like and comment down below. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.